Aquifer's AI assistant helps educators and administrators find specific Aquifer content that targets learning needs and curricular gaps for their students. Let's imagine that I'm putting together a geriatrics course for my geriatrics clerkship, and I know that I want to specifically target conditions related to cognitive decline. So I'm going to search here for cases that are good for teaching dementia. I'll hit enter here. All right, so I've got a few cases that have been returned here, and I really want to have a neurology case in my course. So I'm going to say, can you tell me more about the neurology case? I just want to make sure that this is going to fit the learning needs for my students. So the AI assistant can search the case content. It will provide the synopsis, the learning objectives, and the teaching points specific to this case. So I can just very quickly at a glance scan through here and see if this is going to fit with the learning needs for my students. And it looks like it does. So what I have done now is kind of noted down the cases that have been returned to me. I'm going to go look for these. I've already gone to the content library and selected some cases because again, I want to create that course. So I'm going to head on over to the content library. And I have, as I said, already searched for some of these and I have them in the selection basket, but I want to add those cases that I just found using the assistant. So I'm first going to search for the neurology case and add that to the selection basket. I'm also going to add that family medicine case that came up. Was family medicine 29. So I'm going to add this one as well. And I'm going to view the selected items. So these are all the items that I have added to my selection basket. I will hit create course, and this will take us directly to the course builder. So the course builder, first thing at a glance, we can see how much estimated time this course will require for students to complete the content. We've got 10 cases and one integrated illness script. And I'm just going to go ahead and name my course here. Maybe. And I'm going to just add some instructions to students. To complete all cases by the end of April. And the first part that we have here is a summary of course content, and this allows us at a glance to look at the metadata that's associated with the cases that have been added to this course. So we can very quickly scroll through here and see the final diagnoses for all the cases that have been added, the other conditions taught, the clinical excellence topics in the case, and the basic sciences topics in the case. So these two on the bottom here are the integrations that appear throughout cases for clinical excellence and basic sciences. Next, we have the ability to add some student choice cases. So one of the things that we heard over and over again from students and from educators was that there needed to be a way to have some flexibility for self-directed learning in courses using Aquifer content. So we built in the ability to add student choice cases. So I can have the content that I have selected for students, and then I can give them 2 empty slots. The students will then populate with cases of their choice based on their own learning needs. And for that estimate of time, student choice cases each add approximately 30 minutes to the recommended time for completion of the course, just to have the ability to plan a little bit better for the time commitment required for each course. Down below, we have the course content. We can expand all of these, and we see that same case tile view that we get in the content library. We can see all of the metadata, the integrations information here, the recommended time, as well as the links to the synopsis, the learning objectives, which can help educators at a glance make sure that they're getting the right content that they need. Moving on through the course builder, we can set the course dates. So I will just go ahead and put in here mid-March, and it will go through the end of April. And the educator responsible by default is the person creating the course. So this is who I am signed in as. And then we can add other educators. This person can be changed at this point. So I can also just select from other educators who have been added to my program and then add additional educators and administrators that can see the course. Educators and administrators in the role of teacher will only be able to see the content of the course. They will not be able to see any student data. Educators and administrators in the role of course manager, curriculum administrator, lead course administrator, and program service administrator will be able to see all of the data associated with the course. So I can scroll through here and just add another, let's just go ahead and search here and find another administrator to add. So now I'm going to hit create course, and it asks me now if I want to add students to my course, and I do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add by group, and I'm just going to select another group of students here. So we can add students a couple different ways. We can select from another course, or we can select from students that have been added to a Calibrate assessment delivery. So if there's already a Calibrate assessment that has been set up for a cohort of students, in the course builder, we can go in and grab that group of students and add them to the course. Or we can add students using this list down here just by checking the checkbox next to their name. And we can also remove students from the course by clicking the X right here next to their name. Next, we have notifications. We can set up some email notifications to course users. We can set up an email to go to students if they have incomplete work. And educators can select the number of days before the end of the course they want those emails to go out, up to 20 days. So the date will populate here once that is selected. And then we can also opt to send educators in the role of course manager or above who have been added to this course a copy of the course report via email. So they will get a link that sends the course report to them at the halfway point of the course or the end of the course or both, depending on whatever is selected. We also have the ability to add a Calibrate assessment to this course. So we can opt to add a new Calibrate assessment or link to an existing Calibrate assessment. Either one, I'm going to go ahead and select this one. And what this will do when I hit this update course button is take us to the page where an educator would set up the Calibrate delivery assessment. I'm not going to show that part in this demo because that's a separate workflow, but I will come back to this in just a minute. So I'm going to hit update course. And here's where we would set up that Calibrate assessment. So I've entered all the info for the Calibrate assessment, and I will hit this create assessment. And then from here, I can hit this go to course button. So here's the course that I've just created. We can see I've got the 10 cases, the 1 integrated illness scripts, the 2 student choice cases, and all of the course content. I also see this Calibrate assessment that I just set up. And from here, I can edit the course as needed. So if I need to go in and change any of that information that I set up in the course builder, I can do that. I can also add and remove users. I can change the notifications. I can add more items to the course. If I forgot something, I can go in here and say, I want to search for some other geriatrics case. I have them all right here. I can just add items to the course, and then I can just go right back to the course there. So that's an overview of the AI assistant in the course builder and how they can help educators find the exact content needed for their learners.